Live. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming, for taking time out of no time to be here with us to see what we have for you today on Feggicolla Nostalgia Chat. And we've got so many exciting things for you today. Number one, we're celebrating the May people. Number two, we're hearing about relocation. Yes, we've heard the word jackpot, jackpot, jackpot so many times, and we are in the season of jackpotism, exodus from one country to the other. And you might want to ask, how does it feel? I mean, to relocate from a country to yours. How did you feel when you relocated to Feggicolla boarding school from your parents' cozy home? What are the reasons for relocation in our present day? Why Jackpa? Why Jackpa? Why the Jackpaism? What are the common challenges people face when relocating? Culture shock. Hey, you get into a different culture, it's a different kettle of fish. You've got weather to deal with, you've got career, you've got childcare, and so many other things related to women. Are there some transferable skills from Feggicola that helped you with your current relocation? I would like you to write in the chat, type your comments down below. Hey, and remember to like. We have all relocated one way or the other, even if it's from Lagos to Abuja or from south to the north or north to the west. We've all found ourselves in that situation in one form or the other. So please share your experience with us. And today I bring onto the screen my very good Feji sisters who are here to share their experiences with us. And but before we share our experiences, I will go on to show you the picture of the day. Our potato.
This one is even fine.
This one is fine.
Mine
Me,
was cream and black.
I never use this type of egg. I think mine was that
Onírin
those onirin.
onirin tó máa ń géèyàn lẹ́sẹ̀ tó bá fẹsẹ̀ gbá yẹn ni.
Tani leléyìí? So onirin lèmi náà ló gbà yẹn.
Ilé fine now.
Our portion of
That's all. My very first one was that onirin. In fact,
Yes,
oh
now.
heavy bàjẹ́.
Bàjẹ́.
And I think it was be black and somehow greenish,
Black
know.
and red.
Mine was like greenish.
Àgbà tó sprinkle paint àwọn paint colour kan sí ara ẹ̀
Exactly.
báyìí.
Yeah.
In fact,
I
Tori
can
Ewa
see
there.
it in my mind. I'm seeing the
Seriously,
I am
pictures in
seeing
my
it right
mind.
now.
My nightmare.
With very thin hands, lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ́.
Exactly.
Tó bá mú ọwọ́ ẹ̀ mọ́ ara kìíní yẹn báyìí. Oh my,
Wow.
in fact, the pain is out of this world.
Oh my goodness.
So some had it posh, some had it created by a carpenter next door.
Tàwọn carpenter yẹn ṣì wà okay.
Well done. We are well done.
We are well done.
Okay, we go on to the next thing. So relocation and its challenges. Well, that's what we're discussing today. So thank you for joining us. We celebrate one of the April celebrants we forgot to celebrate last month, who is GBK Omoyela. So who can say something about her?
Yeah, I remember her yellow house. She was tall.
Yes.
And I think I remember then, I think maybe one of her uncles or something was a friend to my father, although I think I knew that later. And from that uncle, I think that Owomoyela family, that's where Orlando Owo came from.
Oh.
So I always kind of, connect her with Orlando Owo and that her uncle that I knew, I think it was, they call them correctional center now. I think that was where he worked that time. So I have that memory. I think she was in C or so. I can't remember. And she was lively.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember GBK. We're still friends. She's a
Okay.
physiotherapist now. She has an
Wow.
office in Bagada. So I'm quite in touch with her. And
Oh, that's good. That's good. At least someone is in touch with her. That's good
That's
to know.
good.
That's wonderful.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
great. So next one, May celebrants. We have Ganiat, we have Kende, and we have what did I write there? Your Yinka,
Kini
Yinka
Yinka
Jegede, no,
Jagede. Yeah.
I get there.
Oh, Yinka
Okay.
Jegede. Wow. I'm going to start from Yinka Jegede. She was in my house. And I remember her as short and, with her round waist.
It was cute.
Very cute. In fact, very cute. Very, you'd want to like carry her.
Exactly.
it was
Comfortably.
no nonsense.
But she
It
was
was
no
no
nonsense.
nonsense.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
was not quiet at all.
And of course, she was very lively,
Mm-hmm.
and could be really troublesome as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yinka
Mm-hmm.
Jegede was really troublesome, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Then, which kind of day is this?
And Ademilua,
Akibolu
Miluyi.
Olusue.
Ademeluyi.
Ademiluyi.
Kehinde Ademiluyi. Anyway, I know the name, but I don't
She
really
was in
know her.
Red House. She was in Red House.
Yes.
She was calm. She was in C class, I think.
Ah.
Okay.
And now she was very quiet. And she was the
Mm.
one that was campaigning vigorously for Sister
For me.
Funke Agunbiade.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but she
Yeah.
was a very
But
calm
back
girl.
in school, I didn't really know her that
Because
well.
she was calm, cool. Kò ń
Mm.
ṣèyàn tó kò ń ṣoníjọ̀gbọ̀n kankan. She was just
Oníjọ̀gbọ̀n.
yeah, she was just
and,
friendly.
and and also probably because she was not in my class. So
Yeah, she was
being
in
calm, not being in my class, not being in my house.
ṣé gbéborùn wá lèmi tèmi mọ gbogbo èèyàn ni.
But you
Oh,
were in Red House now. She was in
No,
your
Taiwo,
house.
you're a special breed.
Taiwo, you're a special case.
You're a
So
special breed.
Honestly,
yeah,
our
yeah.
own Feggicopedia.
Yeah, encyclopedia. Oh, that was you. You are different, I think.
okay.
One that
I was
fully
just
gifted.
lying here. Orúkọ Bukky kan pop up in my head ni. Bukky Kúgbàgbé. That's why I put
Oh,
it on the group. Wait, does anybody remember
Yes,
Bukky
Okay,
Kúgbàgbé?
yes,
Babula.
I remember
No, she was
her.
in Green House.
Not very well though. I remember, that English teacher then that was always trying to call people's name properly. Ikuba Igbe. I remember
Mr.
very well.
Ogunbodede.
Mr. Ogubodede, exactly. Ikuba Igbe. He would always want to pronounce exactly the name.
Yes, with the donation.
Ganiat.
So Ganiya Tanifowo She.
Yeah, she's in the
I think I remember her slightly. Her face has not changed, anyways.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I
Yeah, she was
remember
in A
her
class.
slightly, and she was even back then. She was a very devout Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that very well about her.
yeah,
Very
true.
true.
Okay, so we go
Yeah.
to the next one. Today we're doing all the birthdays together so we can have our talk without interruption.
Okay.
Kola Nke Manadu and Buki Jobutu. Yes, I remember.
Who is that first
Bukola
person?
There's Nke Manadu, Jibola Okunla.
Jibola
Ah.
Okunla.
Oh, Jibola. She was in A
Jibola
class. She
Okoye
was in Blue House.
she was in Blue House. She was my friend.
She
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Prince Mr. Bodunde's family. They were related.
Oh.
Okay.
Really?
Oh
That one I
wow.
remember. They are from the same town, Sef, Edunabo.
It's,
You remember
yeah.
Esther, we used to call her Edubon City.
Edubon City, yeah.
Yeah, we used to call her Edubon City. She was
That,
related
Wow.
to.
she was the one
I
that made
remember her
me.
very well. She was close to Esther. Do you remember this girl,
Yeah,
Taiwo
yeah.
Yebanji?
Jibola was my very good friend. We
That
were
was
very
your
good
Banji
friends.
now,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
She
Ibanji.
was
Yeah.
close to Taiwo Yebanji. They were
Yeah.
so close. They used to sit together
Yeah.
Wow.
in our GS1.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember that much. And
Yeah.
Jibola too was very calm. She was
Yeah.
very
She was
quiet.
very quiet.
Very
Very,
Okay.
calm
Yeah.
very
girl.
brilliant too. Very
Yeah,
brilliant.
very
Very
Wow.
brilliant.
brilliant.
Yes. Yeah.
Very smart. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still
Uh,
spoke with her. She lives in Lagos. I still spoke with her a
House.
week
I
or
think she
two
was in
ago.
Oh.
Really?
E class. Was it E or
No, she was in
either
A.
E or F?
no,
Jibola.
Was she in
Jibola.
Jibola
A?
was
Are
in
you
A.
No,
Oh.
sure?
Jibola was in
No,
Jibola
A.
no, no,
Oh.
no.
was
I'm talking about
Jibola
Funke
was in
Manadu.
A.
No, I'm talking about
Oh,
Oh,
Funke.
Funke
Funke
I'm
Ikem
talking
was
Manadu
about
was
in
in
Funke
E.
A.
Manadu.
Yeah, she
okay,
was
Oh
in
yeah,
okay.
E in
Ikem
my
was E.
class.
Yeah,
She was
Ike
the
was in his
captain,
class.
class captain of E class.
Yes. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, she was.
I
yeah. She
think
was
that's
in
the much.
She's
Of course,
still here.
she was tall and graceful. Even as at that time, she was
Mhm.
graceful.
E.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Queen K. Eh.
yeah.
Mm.
KK.
Then Buki Jebutu, who has
Then
heard from
Bukola Jebutu, yes, she was in my
BK.
house. She was wonderfully dark complexioned. In fact, her dark complexion glowed even at that time.
Mm.
And
Jebitu.
I can't remember which class. I think she was
She was
in
in
B
B
or so.
class. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I think she was in B.
I
Mm.
think Lola Teniola is hidden away. She says Jibola was also close to Jokege.
And
Ah.
Joke was a step ahead of us now. They were all of them. You see, Jibola, Taiwo Yebanji, and Jokege. They had a link with Mr. Bodunde.
And they were all
Oh,
from Eduabo. It's a
They were
Eduabo
all from
Parapo.
Edrabo. Well, yeah,
oh.
Mm.
Okay,
yeah.
Edrabo Parapo. Okay.
Jokege was in greenhouse. She was 91 set.
okay.
Avovo.
Yeah, Hurricane Keleba Okupa.
Welcome, Avovo. Avovo. You're welcome here, Avo too.
Our very own Presido, welcome on board.
I will too. I now.
I can't
I
see
think she has
Avutu.
muted herself.
You can't hear you.
She's
Okay.
Oh, Teniola says I'm watching you all on YouTube, but I don't have a channel, so I can't talk.
joining.
Yeah.
Maybe you could send it to her
No, she's
privately.
watching already. She's here. She's watching.
Okay.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
to the next one. So, like we said, we're doing all the birthdays together so we can have the talk without being without interrupting our very own puppy. Next one is Caroline members, Toyin, I've forgotten her surname now, and Toyosi, I've forgotten her Ogunfuyi. Yeah. Toyin.
Toyo
Caroline
Gumaki.
members.
Yes.
Toyo Gumaki.
Yeah.
She was in greenhouse. She was
Okay.
Foluke Kute's cousin. And she was I think she was in E class as well. Was it E?
I can't remember.
I don't know much
Oh,
about
no. If she
her.
wasn't in
I
E, she was
can't
in B. It's either E or B.
Mm.
It's one of the two.
I can't
I can't
even
really.
the name does not really ring a bell. I can't really
Toyo
remember her.
Gumaki, she was tall, dark,
So that
dark
I remember
skin.
Ogunmakin very well. Oh. I
Yeah,
think
she was tall, dark.
Yeah.
was she in D or he?
Oh, no, ni mo ń sọ pé I don't know. I think she was E. If it's not E, I think she was E. If
I
she
remember
wasn't
her
E, she
very
was
well.
B. But she was tall and slim. She was, as in, when I say tall, after Gbemi and Nini, I think she would have been the next tallest. She was proper
Wow.
tall, yes, in our set then. And she was dark skinned.
Wow.
Very calm. She was Foluke Kute's cousin, because I was close to both of them in JS1. So
Okay.
I know her very well. And then
Mm.
Toyosi Ogufuyi was in Red House. She was E class. She was Kike. What's her surname now?
Kike George, Abi Kike.
No, Kike. Kike was in Red House. She was dark skinned as well.
Kike
They were
Taki.
very good friends. No, Kike Taki, she said to her now. Kike.
In our set in Red House.
Yes, Okupaba only red lips. She had red.
Oh, is it Olotu? But the
That's
only red lip
Polani
person I know
Olotu.
is
That's 91 set.
Bimbo. No, Bimbo Olotu was the only red lip red house
No,
girl
Yes,
that
in
I
Red
know.
House.
no.
Are you sure
Bimbo
Kike?
Olotu also. Kike, there was Kike
Sorry,
Ayodeji was in greenhouse.
Kike
Yeah,
was
Kike was in
Yemi
Green House.
Elegbe's cousin. Yemi Elegbe's
Kike,
cousin.
yes, they were friends. Toyosi, Yemi Elegbe, and Kike. They were
Biola
friends.
Ajigoke. They were friends, three of them. or cousins?
Mo ti gbàgbé surname Kíkẹ́, I can't remember.
Adebayo. She said Adebayo.
Kíkẹ́ Adébáyọ̀,
Oh,
yes.
okay, Kike Adebayo,
Kike
I remember
Adébáyọ̀.
her.
Okay.
I remember her. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Kíkẹ́
yeah.
Adébáyọ̀, yes.
Come online,
Kike Adébáyọ̀.
Teniola. I've sent a link to you so you can remind us. You're sending us, you're sending all the teams here on WhatsApp.
Yeah, Kíkẹ́ Adébáyọ̀, they were very good friends.
Join the
Kike
queue.
Adébáyọ̀.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then Caroline members. I know the name. I don't know much
Caro
about her.
Miro.
I think Caro Miro.
Caro Miro. Yeah.
I know she was a bit on the big side even as at that time.
Yes.
Àwọn ọmọ
I
tí
think that's
Kábọ̀dì.
yeah. I think that's the much I kind of remember about her.
So
She was in the house.
I think she was in
E
E-class. Was she in E-class?
Yep.
Okay.
It wasn't E or C, Miss Eranti, but I remember her as well, Cha.
So viewers, write your comments in the chat, please. Yeah, Lola is here to give us all the ones we forgot. Oh, maximum of 6 people on the screen. It wouldn't allow me. It needs maximum of 6 on the screen. Okay, you know what? I will come out and allow her come in. But yeah, somebody sent a private message. Can you guys hear me? Yes, we can hear you, Avo, too. All right, so I'll go on to the next one and I'll come off so that another person can come on in. Next person, let's talk.
Our e-food prefect. Eniola. Yeah, I guess I didn't know much about her back in Feggicolla, but she's been a force that cannot be, you know, she's been a force in this our alumni, in our set group. So I know her very well now. But back then, I didn't know much about her. Although she was in my house, I didn't know much about her.
She had a sister. She had a senior sister. Sister
Okay.
Shola Alisin.
Yes, Shola, yes.
Sister Shola Alisin. Eniola was quiet as well. She wasn't, I don't know. She was a popular house girl. That's what I would say. Even though she's always tantalizing our taste buds.
Honestly, online our ifu prefects.
Then, you know.
Then I think that Sumbo, is it Sumbo Williams or Sumbo what?
No, she was Sumbo Ajayi.
Sumbo Ajayi.
Yeah.
I
Popular.
didn't know her. I didn't know her that much back then either. Even though she was in my house.
Sumba was okay. We used to attend she was a Muslim then, and we used to go for all the Islamic activities together.
Okay.
She was okay. Yeah, Sumba was okay. Nice lady. And she's Mrs. Salako now, funny enough.
Seriously.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's Ola Salako now.
Oh yeah, somebody, yeah.
Yeah. Then Yejida Kiwande, of course, read out B class. B class. Yajeje. She doesn't like Wahala. No.
Yes, I think I remember Yejide Akinwande. I think she was in A class, either A or B class.
B. She was in
B. I think she was either in A or B. Yejide Akinwande, she was quiet, and I think she was very brilliant too.
Oh yeah, she was.
Lola, we
She was
can't hear
very
you.
brilliant.
You're itching to say something, but we can't hear you. You're muted. Unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
She was in the same class with Lola now, so Lola will remember her.
Okay, Lola. We can't hear you.
Her mic is muted. Oh yeah, unmute too. So you haven't unmuted yourself. Unmute yourself and speak to us. Okay. So while we are trying to get all right, so this is the time for us to listen to Poppy. Are you here? You're here. So I will you
Hi
can
everyone, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes,
can
we
hear
can
you,
hear you
Lola.
loud
Okay,
and
I
clear
just wanted
now.
Hi,
to say
Lola.
something. I'm enjoying the chat. I will be in the background. I listen to you all.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you for your input. So which
oh,
one do you have to
sorry. I
say
just
before
wanted
you
to
go?
say hello. I will be listening.
Tell us which one do
Okay.
you know. Tell us which ones you wanted to talk about. We have finished the last this is the last slide on May celebrants. So which of them do you want to talk about?
She's gone.
You don't work out again. Okay. All right then. So we will go on to the chat for our chat. Poppy, it's all over to you, whichever way. If you want people to ask questions, if you want them to stop you on the way while you're talking, you have the stage. So this is your moment to shine.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um, when we chose relocation because I don't know about US and Canada, but we have quite a few of us that have just relocated. So when Bumi raised threw it out there that what should we talk about? So I just thought, why don't we talk about what's happening all over the world in the Nigerian community and how it well if we can share experiences and tips, to help the new Jaquarians, as they are called, settle down into their new home countries.
Mhm.
So that was, I just thought, and I didn't even know Bumi was going to accept it. So I just, prepared this. It's more like a story, but pick your tips there. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
So I titled it "A Nigerian Girl on the Streets of United Kingdom." I'm going to link it to how, Feggicolla kind of molded, you know, gave us the adaptation skills, to survive and settle in as quickly as you have to. So the first slide, well, I titled it "A Nigerian Girl on the Streets of the United Kingdom." And the first slide, back to my youth. So I first of all spoke about, pre coming to the UK, which was between 1986 and 2002. I was 10 years old when I was admitted into FGGC Akure. My first thing at relocation. Within hours, I had already bumped heads with a group of JS2 students. Upon reflection, I realized that it would not be business as usual, and I had to survive. I was quick to turn on my survival mode. My survival skills were on active use till I got into SS1, where I could challenge some status quo. Well, where I could challenge certain status quo and get away unpunished. Literally, what I was trying to say was, the first day in Akure was very daunting because you're coming from your pampered background to where you're just supposed to be yourself. And my first altercation was with some GS2 students. I won't mention their name. They walked up to me, about 4 or 5 of them. They were all red house girls. And they were like, "Oh, your name is Taiwo Salako. Where is your candy?" And immediately I looked at them. I said, "What business of yours is that?" I didn't know you don't talk like that. And the next few days afterwards, I was quick to realize that it's not everything that you just respond to. This is not your house and they are not your family. Because what they did to me. So that's the story behind that first point. In 1993 again, I had to live by myself when I was again admitted into Ogun State Polytechnic. But I discovered that I was a bit new in relating with boys as I attended a girls only secondary school. What do I do? I was quick to request from my mom to permit me to live with her sister, who was a lecturer in my school, and they both agreed. They did not know why I made that request. My dad was not really in support, but he let me. I lived with her for a year, which is the session, as I did KND. I was only 18 then, and living in this adult environment was a bit daunting for my young, innocent self. By the time I got into ND1, I was ready to sail, as I had studied how to mingle with the opposite sex, attend my lectures, study, and socialize. I was very confident now, and again informed my parents of my decision. And of course, my mom and her sister were against it, but my dad was in support. So I survived. I was okay all through higher institution and years afterwards. So that's the second phase of me finding myself by myself. And well, I think I survived that stage anyway without any yawa. But one of the things, you see, while I was in Ogupoli and I did my end in Ogupoli and my HND in Yabatek, I was never, you never find me. Because of that Akure thing where we had to obey the rules and regulations, you never find me where I'm not supposed to be. I don't when we have exams, I always study my exams. You know, some people they form caucus and they will be copying and taking things into the hall. I never did that. It was not my thing. I just knew I had to study, go in there and do what I can. You know, that was me. So the next slide. Okay, I chose to relocate to Jand as we referred to it then in 2002. Was my decision informed? It was only informed on my fantasies. I will say to my younger self, relocate, but in a better and more informed route. Now, I was in my autopilot mode. After a few weeks, that is, my survival instincts kicked in thanks to my career background. First was the itinerary of how to get a job and the tools that I needed. Part of my scheme based on an ill advice and ill advisor, whom I will not mention the name, encouraged to work in randomly. Mind you, internet jobs were not too developed then. So I naively jumped on the advice. Somewhere in Essex, there's this long road that had a lot of B&Bs. That's bread and breakfast, owned by Asians. I would see vacancies and I'll go in to ask for a job. Some will ignore me while others just laughed. Till I went in to one, and the guy was kind enough to educate me that vacancies meant that there were rooms but for would-be lodgers. So anytime I'm walking down these roads, there were a lot of B&Bs on that road. And I'll just look into the there's this kind of post they'll put vacancies.
Vacancies available.
So I was just walking in my naivety. I just say, oh, I'm looking for a job. Blah, blah, blah.
Nigeria.
And they will look at me and just laugh.
Glorious. Oh my
Because
goodness.
when I look back now, even when I was writing this,
No,
I
you
was
were
laughing.
brave. You were brave.
But I was naive. I didn't know. And put
Or
in
maybe you
mind,
were
though,
desperate.
bear in mind, I didn't have papers as well. Oh.
Ah,
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't know. That's what my friend told me. She said, just walk in. So this was me. I was just walking. Oh, vacancy. So it was one guy that called me and said, what are you looking for exactly? They used to laugh. And there's a chance they will speak their language and just laugh. And. So the guy just called me and said, what exactly are you doing? I said, the job. He said, no, the vacancy that they signpost outside is for people that are lodging in. So that was how I stopped that. I stopped that style of looking for work. I realized that that was not the way. So afterwards, I moved away from London. I was equipped with the tools. When I say tools, I meant now I had I had been shown the shortcut to getting into the job line, what you needed and how. So I had a silent bargain with a cousin of mine who had a baby then that was few weeks old to stay with her and help with childcare while I lived with her. So I would help her with childcare, and of course I was living there rent free. I did this for a few years, then I moved on to so many other things after. This includes settling into all and more. I would save you time, but let your imagination run on this one, or on and into this till date that I share with you. But I want you to take note of what I have learned over the years. So I don't know if we have any new Japarians here, or give yourself a pat on the back. Appreciate and live in the moment of every step that has got you here. You are bound to be overwhelmed because you have a lot of decisions to make and settle with after you've made them. If you have moved in with your family, that makes it even more complicated, one step at a time. Be the Roman when you reside in Rome. You get why? That means, I mean, behave like the Rome. Behave like the Romans when you live in Rome. You need to study the country. See, I have my brother who has just relocated as well. And I keep telling him, he's always wanting to watch all this Nigerian news and all that. And I'm like, I'm not telling you not to watch Nigerian news, but you need to listen to the news here as well. This is your new home country. You need to know what is happening on top. You have to integrate yourself into the society. Because one thing I've noticed that we do is we live here and we live there. And that brings a lot of, it doesn't let you settle in quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to immerse yourself into your new home country. And one of the first things you need to do is study them. See, you was not patient enough to go and study them. That's why he gave that stupid interview he gave to BBC. So Oyinbo will come to you. They will use, let me speak my language. One feel quarrel by your something as simple as, oh, Taiwo, you're right. How are you? You run your own information to feedback. So you have to know them to know, where this is leading to. So know that living in a country like UK or any other abroad is different from your home country. Like osmosis, you have moved from all that you have known. You have always known to the unknown. Living in a country is different from visiting that same country. There are laws, processes,
Mm-hmm.
and you are obliged to cultivate and adopt these ways.
Yep.
Obey the law. Keep in mind that back home, the law is slash was an illusion, and
Yep.
everyone is a law unto themselves. But as a Feggicolla babe, staying in tune with the law is second nature. So that side of you is second nature, right? Ignorance is not an excuse to break the law. It is your responsibility to learn about the do's and don'ts of this Obodo and also on you to comply. Them no they beg or bribe police for yonder. Unlearn to relearn and learn. Out with the old and in with the new. From your day one on this new soil, there are a lot of conflicting interests. Some make sense, some don't, but still we move. Let me make you laugh again. When I eventually got that much search for job, which was a very popular issue. Can you mute your mic? Somebody is doing something in the background. Mute your mic if you're the person, please. When I eventually got that much searched for job, which was a very popular eatery, as we call it back home. Whenever I was at the till or the drive-through, and our friend, that is Oga Police, came in, I would jump back to the toilet as I was standing on a shaky foundation without jabbering like Mr. Tiami. So this went on always. And one of the managers born here in the UK but of Nigerian descent said to me with a British accent, Taiwo, they're not here for you. They only came in. They're not here for you when they come in. They are hungry and only need food. That was how I knew that they will only dictate your illegality if you open your gob. So I knew that some doors need to remain closed. Be careful what you share. The more you see, the more that you will learn. No put eye for where you know Sabi. Another joke on me. Growing up, we were never encouraged to. Oh God, I didn't finish that. But what I was trying to say there was, we were never encouraged to give eye contact. at that same place where I was working. Apart from the fact that when I saw a policeman and I was on the till, I would run to the toilet. I thought once they look me in the eye that they will know that I no get papers. So that girl noticed. She was born here, but she's of Igbo descent. And she called me one day and she said, Taiwo, these people are not here for you. That was the day I stopped running to the toilet. She didn't know. She didn't know that I didn't have standing. But she just, she noticed because it's morning shift, and on morning shift it's not as busy as day shift. So she noticed that anytime these people come, and they had a particular time that they always drive through to pick their food. So another problem I had there, when they're talking to me, I don't give eye contact. So I was always pulled for retraining. So along the line, they changed that to my manager, and she noticed that they keep retraining me. Why? When she read through the notes, she had to tell them on my behalf that, listen, this is cultural difference. That where she's coming from is not that she's scared or she has low self-esteem. It's just that they don't give eye contact to their superiors. So she came to me and she told me, Taiwo, you need to start looking into people's eyes when you're taking orders. Because I think some of all these people, you won't know that they are noticing you. Apparently, they were going behind to go and complain that girl that served me was looking, she didn't give me eye contact, which I didn't know was not acceptable here. I didn't know that you had to look into people's faces. So those were one of my first lessons that I learned when I moved out here. Then speak out in our much loved language. Follow who sabi. If Tiamiu was aware, he would have known that he was not ripe enough for that talk. Did you watch Dr. Emeka's interview with Nigel Farage, an anti-immigration and leader of the Brexit agenda, on the same issue? Did you notice the difference in response from someone who has lived here, ate and wined and dined with the owners of the land? Seek and sought for the much needed information that will help you to navigate your new abode from people who have been here longer and know more than you. Man is not designed to be independent. We are meant to be codependent. Man, they say, shall not live by bread alone. Information is key for a reason. Skills, mindset, and career. The greatest challenge of all, apart from finance, is this. This category determines what and how you are going to survive. So you have to be brutal to thyself, be intentional, and step up to it. First of all, you need to be willing to make the needed change, adjustment, and to equip you by hook or by crook. Here, experience supersedes qualification. So be prepared to use your hyperbole and oxymoron. That is to say, you package your CV. I no one put up because I know this thing they go on YouTube, so I didn't want to spell it out. Package yourself. Or you will know they like true. Church might know they exist for here. All I'm trying to code here is senior, like our senior told tales. Then be ready to execute this command while you are in the air. Pilot back to Nigeria. Sure you get. That's how stars roll. And as Niger, we know the door. Few years ago, I made a career change from a £7.50 an hour job to a 30K a year job. I'm here to motivate you, not to intimidate you. You can if I did. My training for most of it was via Skype, and three people from amongst us, 92 said, gave me the nod that I could do it. In fact, one of them launched my CV on my behalf because I developed cold feet at that point. You can stop me if you need to ask questions. Study the dynamics of cohabiting. This is more for my married sisters. For sisters with kids, to married or not. Like I said earlier, living with people in Nigeria and here is a different ball game altogether. What works back home does not here. You need to learn and adapt faster than you are able to, else you could be homeless, divorced, separated, or the social would have taken over your kids before you know it. This is also another challenging feature that leaves its victim embattled by the time you are able to comprehend what has happened or is about to happen. Finances, cut your coat according to you can fit it in. That's why I left it like that. According to your material, according to your cloth, or according to your size. I would leave you to fit in what's applicable to you. Stay in line with your pocket. UK is one country that helps you to stay in check. If not, you will hit the rockiest of the bottoms. Plan and stay. Be with like minds. Gravitate towards people who will support you, enlighten, uplift, and cheer you on. Like we say in Yoruba, Majolo Muwenye, I got you, baby. I stand up for your back, gidigba. Always wine and dine with your own. In the course of my journey, I have met people that will tell you to your face that they do not like to mix with black people or with their fellow Nigerians. Hello, you know, get them. Your own will protect you when the chips are down, just like they will protect their own too at all times. Let me lay it bare. Did you see what happened to Kwateng? He was thrown under the bus, even though I didn't want to write the full name of the Prime Minister. LT was aware of his decisions on the financial future of our dear Bongilishi. I once had a big issue with my team, and when I got that job, when I switched career, I had an issue with the team I was working with, and they were planning to upstage me. Guess what? It was my line manager who was white. She didn't know how to tell me, so she went to another Nigerian girl that I was close to tell her that, listen, this is what they are planning for your friend. And I was on holiday, so when that one told me, I said, really? She said, yes. So the lady told my friend to tell me what to do, what to prepare, and all that. Because one of them was trying to bring another person in, and she was claiming that I didn't know the job. So my manager told me what she wanted me to prepare, and I did. So when that Monday, when they called and they were to review my that was what do you call it, probation. So they were to review my probation, whatever. I floored everything because she had told me what to do. So she was not like, so what are you talking about? So that was how, I overcame those obstacles. What I'm trying to say in essence here is gravitate with your own, no matter what. You always find that one person. I know we have our own issues amongst ourselves, but when it comes to the one who will have your back is your own. That's what I'm trying to say there. All you need to do is to set boundaries for you and for the people you intend to befriend. If your intuition says otherwise, then move on to the next. But trust me, both in my former and now career, I have made lifetime friends that I still mingle with to date. Study the dynamics of cohabiting. Oh no, I've read that. Sorry. Okay, the last slide. Please do not keep quiet if you are struggling mentally and you are in an abusive relationship. If you are struggling with your health or your child has any form of challenge, please do not sweep it under the carpet or try to pray it away. You are in a country that supports and helps. Do not perish or wither away for lack of knowledge. This one I have come across a lot. When I say a lot, I'm not going to say black people now, Nigerians. I've met people whose kids are autistic and they refuse to accept that the child even has it first, let alone seek help. UK is one of the best countries that will support you in terms of that. I have lived with someone that I literally had to take it upon myself to support with helping that child. And the child is doing very well today. We have issues. Some people will have high blood pressure, they'll have diabetes, they'll be praying and drinking olive oil and all these things. People will have cancer, they will not go for treatment. Please, especially if you're in the Western world, the help is out there. You just need to, you know, seize your opportunity and make good use of it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't speak out, who will help you? You have to think about your children and the future and your loved ones as well. Be kind to everyone because we all have our struggles. Some are visible, while some are not. And then emotional intelligence and developing your ability to always read the room. If you are in the Western world, this one is very, very important. It will help you. And I will make reference to that Tiami's interview again. He lacked emotional intelligence. His ability to read the room was zero. Because if he was able to read the room and if he had the intelligence, he wouldn't even have granted that interview in the first place. Because he would have known that they were going to use him as a pawn. There was another interview of one Dr. Emeka something something with Dr. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage, like I mentioned earlier, is anti-immigration. So he would try. It was even referring to the boy's face that, oh, your country is a poor country. But that boy, the way he answered, you will know that he has lived in this country for so long. He knows the mentality. He knew the angle to win that argument. The opposite was what ended it. I have been in situations where you can imagine somebody coming to you, oh Taiwo, you understand a lot. You do understand English a lot. When you send me mails, I tend to go on Google to go and check for words. And my own response, me, I'm very savvy. I'll just ask you straight away, did you by any chance do history? And they go, oh yeah. Oh. So are you not aware that Britain colonized us? And they go, oh, okay. Because don't come to me and tell me such condescending and silent insults. I find it very condescending. And then they refer to Africa as a country rather than a continent. So there are a lot of things that sometimes when some of my friends say, oh, I haven't experienced racism, I'll be like, you didn't know. You've experienced it, but you did not know. Because they can be sometimes very subtle and very quiet. So for me, you have to be able to read the room. If you enter any room, be able to read the atmosphere, the vibes, know where you are wanted and where you are not wanted. And always, Nigerians know, anywhere we are, we always assert ourselves. Let them know that you're a force to be reckoned with. So that's my please feel free, adios. I'm going to leave you with this. Do you and the world will definitely adjust, but bear in mind that you will only enjoy the benefit of what you strive for. Thanks for listening. I hope this story helps you to pass yours on to sincerely yours, Tayo Akapopi. You will. Job done.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you.
That was good. That was good. Thank you. Thank you. Any comments? Any addition, subtraction, questions? Over to you, stage. So apart from the eye contact, what were the other? Maybe you've heard people say. What were the other cultural shocking moments?
Another one that I experienced. When you're walking on the street and you just see these people, they will smile at you. I used to think a lot of them had mental health issues. So when I asked my friend, she said, you smile back. I was like, smile back for what? But me too, I've started doing it unconsciously.
Plastic smile. Oh, the plastic smiles.
you know.
Right. Oh, and then coping with the weather was another thing.
Uh,
I remember when we were in secondary school, they would tell us, in geography, that they used to tell us, oh, longer day, shorter nights. I'll be like, well, how can a long? Does it mean they have more than 24? It didn't make sense to me. Even though I was born here, I was taking, of course, I was from the generation of children that were taken back to Africa, to Nigeria, or to
mm,
Africa, to go and get developed and all that. So, I used to wonder. 20 longer day, shorter night. What does that mean? It was when I got here, I'll be like, oh, 10 p.m. is still bright out here. Oh, I see what they mean now. So that was something I had to learn. Okay, this is what they were trying to teach us in geography then. And then all
Yeah.
the clock changes that you have to do every
One,
June,
yeah, March and
every March,
October.
end of March, end of October, you have to change. And you will go pada saying, I will be like, like, never knew that could ever happen. But
And then we had that proverb in Yoruba. Kò
uh,
sẹ́ni tó lè yọwọ́ aago padà sẹ́yìn.
unless you come to UK. Yeah, so that was something I
But
learned.
let me ask, why do you have to change the hand of the clock? I don't get that. I'm just hearing it for the first time. Why?
Ah, àwọn àwọn tó nílùú náà la máa béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ o.
That's why we have GMT plus one. So if you're GMT plus one, like UK is GMT plus one, meaning
Uh-huh.
every at certain times you have to
Greenwich
check your
Meridian
time.
time.
Ah,
Greenwich Meridian time. Anyway, that's
okay.
I think Nigeria, you never change the time. US, they change the time. I think even Ghana is 1 hour ahead or something. I don't know. I've never been to
We
Ghana.
don't change time. We are perfectly located, so we don't have to be changing. Oh, I'll go back
Ah,
and forth.
no. In fact,
But
there's one clock in my living room downstairs. I refuse to change it. I'm even tired. Honestly, I've just left today. Honestly, I'm tired of all this changing. I only change my wristwatch.
but the good thing is there is a satellite one that as soon as it's it gets to the the time to change, it changes by itself, just like your laptop and your
Yes.
phones will change by
Mm.
itself. So that's satellite connected, so it knows. Oh, they've gone, But anyway, Teeny Beats T or is it Teeny Beats says that's really enlightening. Thanks, Taiwo. Thank you very
Who
much.
is Teeny Bit?
Also, someone is Tawa is asking who is Tinibit. So if you're still there, please introduce yourself, what year was set, let's know you. So any other please remember to write comments, write your
So,
experience. Some people is jobs, some people is childcare, some people it's the weather. They can never cope with this weather. Even the wives themselves, you see them migrating
Yes.
outside the country to
cold
Spain and
season.
always when it's very cold here. So it's not. Oh,
So there's something I want to say. I like the. Please hold a minute. Please, can you do out the noise? Okay.
oh, that
So I
was.
like.
Oh, sorry, 1 minute. So the teeny
Tóyìn
bit was
Olúwajíìtàn.
Tony Oluwaji.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Very loud.
And then we have our senior here too, Sister Tokumo. Thank you for sharing with us, Taiwo Mobola
Oh,
Aguda.
Okay.
Thank you very much
So
for joining.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would say I like what Taiwo shared about identifying with your own. That's really it's a strong one for me. That wherever you find yourself, try to look for people of like mind, people from your own area. No matter how bad it is, there'll be people that speak the same language, have the same vibes, or the same experience that will come to your head. This is that people will just go and then they want to become white. They want to become the Oyubos by force. They will change their accent by force, do everything by force, and do as if they don't. I mean, for me. So when she said we identify your own, that is a strong one for me. Look for
yeah.
Nigerians. I know you might have issues, but you know,
Let me in.
your people are your people.
Let me let you in on a secret. I've always shared this with my friends, especially the ones that have younger kids. When they come, I don't have somebody to pick my child from school, blah blah blah. And I'll be like, are there no Nigerians in that school? And they go, they're there, but you don't mingle with them. You're doing yourself. Because I have been in situations when I found myself alone as a single mom to a young child. Sometimes I have to go to work, You have people that for as little as £5, they will help you pick your child daily. Your child just needs to be with them for an hour for you to get there. So if you don't mix with your own, of course you can't go and meet an Oyinbo person to do it for you because there are some things you can't say. You understand? If you tell Oyinbo, can you pick? I will give you this. They'll be like, no, go to the registered childminder. But your own person, some will even offer to do it for you for free. When it was time for my son to be coming back home by himself, Because then I used to work nights. Sometimes I'll be tired. Maybe I just went to sleep about 12 and I have to go and pick him 3 o'clock. There's this Edo woman. She had 5 kids in that school. Once I call her, my friend, I beg you, if you help me pick my picking. She was doing it for free. I asked her if she wanted me. She said no. And she liked my son because my son is chatty. So what she did was she will help my son when they will walk down to our house together. Ours was still about 6 or 7 minutes further down. So she will help him to cross to the other side and then watch him till he turns off. And then she calls me or she sends a message that he's on his way. So I know the timeline of when he's going to get home. I can't do that with any other person. So when people, I find it so, my skin crawls when people tell me, oh, I don't like to meet with Nigerians. I don't. You just look for the Nigerian that you pull. I mean, you are on the same page. I know we can be a handful by ourselves, but only your own will help you to settle. I have a family that just moved down. In fact, my family friend, we've been childhood friends, and they just moved down. If you know the amount of places I've taken that girl to, because she was like, how do I? I mean, she went to the market, she didn't know how to buy meat, buy stuff, and buy this. I said, don't worry. I've devoted about 2 different weekends to her, taking her to this place, that place, buy this, buy that, buy that. But if you're of the notion that I don't want to be with my own, is it you want to be eating cheese and what? Onions. So I don't get it. I still find it very difficult when people tell me I didn't like to mix with Nigerians. I didn't like to mix with. Even when I found myself in Birmingham, when I was the only Nigerian, I mixed with the Jamaicans. We are still of like minds. I mixed with them. That's my own.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Creating a support system around yourself, because I know, yes, okay. Let me share my own story. Anywhere I go, to, honestly, the first thing I look for is, even if I see people, I go to Asda or anywhere, I see a black person, I'll first of all go and meet them. Oh, hello, how long have you been in rugby? This is that, we get talking. I guess maybe that's linked to the ministry and all of that, but I try to introduce myself. So one thing I know I did was to create a Nigeria community in rugby, and that was because we needed NIN. And I thought, this one, my family needed NIN, national, what do you call it?
Yeah,
Clinical or something
identification number or something.
at that time. And I was thinking to myself, there'll be other people who will want to do NIN, but they don't know how to go about. So I thought, okay, send messages around and everything. And my house was like the center. I had to get someone from Kent to come and do NIN for us. Or it was after that, and I realized there was actually a rugby community of Nigerians in rugby in existence who had registered, but they were not making any impact. There was nothing about them. There was no one knew anything. So when I found that, I had to now say, okay, we can't have two Niger communities in just a small town. I will send my people to you because you are registered. I am not registered. I just did it because we needed a NIN.
Hmm.
So now it's more like it's growing, and there's a Nigerian market here, and things are picking up. But of course, in that meeting, I had to tell them, hey, if I see any mago corruption, kiniko, I'm the first person to go out, because
Exactly.
that's people have been burnt in the past with hanky pankies and 419ers. So I wouldn't blame them, but at the same time, don't seal yourself up, put yourself in the confinement and say, "Oh, one person hurt me, so everybody is evil." No, you're one thing about Dijuki. How do they say that? Kiyolo enitio kiniko koja.
tó bá
Ẹni
dijú
rere
kẹ́ni
kọjá
burúkú
lọ.
kọjá títí tẹ́ni rere fi máa lọ ò ní mọ̀.
Thank you. Yes, Benny. Full stop. So, Sister Mobola Aguda says, I think a big thing to navigate is the cultural difference anywhere you go. And she also said, I agree, we get and give a lot of support from our own people. It's really important. I would say, though, that we should be careful that their values are similar to our own. Of course, yes. Thank you very much. Then, Nwanne Amaka Anazodo says, thank you for these insightful tips, Sister Taiwo. My question is this: can a student who is restricted to working 20 hours a week be able to pay tuition balance and also take care of herself? Over to
Hmm.
you.
That one hard though. But what I would deploy you is to, if you have a skill, like if you know how to do hair, do makeup, a side hustle, if you can cook, all those things that we were not, unfortunately, our generation was, we were more brought up by academics. It was read, 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 read. We didn't know that having skills in this part of the world was more valued. But the younger generations are very hands-on with that. So if there is, even if it's makeup, if you can go and learn makeup on YouTube and get your equipment and all that. See, for every time me I go out, I spend £40 if I go to parties to have my face done. So in a weekend, do the math. If you know how to do it, ordinary all back is £30. So there are small small things you can do that you know that would support you. You can't live on your 20 hours alone. Even apart from your tuition, that 20 hours cannot even sustain in the UK that we are in today. Oh, that 20 hours cannot sustain you. So you need to look for a side hustle that you can do. If you have people, if you have a school close to you, and you know some Nigerians that, I'm not encouraging you, don't go and break the law and say it's anti-Taiwo, but people cut corners in that aspect. You can help people, support them with their children. If they are doing night shifts, they drop them £15. These were monies I paid. You understand? I mean, I won't say more than that. But if you have a skill that can fetch you money, that that's the way. That's the way to go. Because then the taxman no go deep hand for that one. So if you get your £40 and you get your £40. And you can imagine if your target, you go and distribute, you don't even need to do a card. Go to the library, print your name, phone number, and Instagram and do. Be handing it out to students in your school. Go to African shops, hand it out there. All these convenience stores for for as little as maybe £1 per day, £7 a week. They will allow you to stick it on their window there.
Mm.
All those little things will help you. That's my
Yeah.
own.
True. True. Sister Mobola Guda says, excellent point. I will side hustle is it. Yes. Learn a skill. Learn a skill and upgrade yourself. Yeah. It's very important. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other? I know we spent 1 hour already. We should be calling it a night. So without further ado, I'll say thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please share the video because it would help someone. And I'm really glad with some people who have actually come out to say, oh, I'm suffering, I haven't got a job still, I've been here for months and I haven't got a job. Coming down from that high horse is the first step to
Uh,
getting
I
things
have
done. Well
I
done.
have something to say about that.
Okay, carry.
Um, um, there are some apps. I don't know if people are aware of those apps. First of all, like Bumi just said, now you have to come down your high horse. That was what I meant by mindset in that slide that I prepared. You have to change your mindset. You cannot be coming from Nigeria as a banker and you think you just come in here and get a bank job. In fact, the bank they don't really pay like they pay in Nigeria. So the pay is not that the pay is fantastic. You can even earn more as a care worker, as a support worker. So when you get to this country, for me, I call it Loyinbo Atunida. It redirects your destiny. So if you are coming, I did care for almost 15 years before I switched. The bills got to be paid. I served at parties. Let me tell you something. For that person who just asked me about supporting yourself, I had someone who was an event planner. I walked up to her for every day. I used to target Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with her. It's £50 per day. That's £200 in my pocket. I have been to two events that were by Akure girls. I was serving at the party. No shame in my own game. Oh, I'm not stealing money and I'm not sleeping with people's husbands. I was earning my honest living. I had a mouth to feed.
Wow.
Yes, I had a mouth to feed, so I didn't care. The first event that I attended, serving as a waiter, was by an Akure senior. Her sister was getting married. She knew me very well, but I didn't. I mean, I'm not doing anything bad. That was part of my journey. So you have to climb down your high horse and do what you need to do. You know. So here, your mindset has to change. You an 18-year-old person will come and call you, hey Taiwo, go there and go and do duh. You gotta get the job done. If she's your manager, she's your manager. It does not matter. The age does not matter. Get the job done and get the hell out. On to the next. That's my own. So you have to change your mindset. There are quite a number of apps, Couple, Indeed Flex. There are so many of them that you can download. The vetting is not so hard because they are legally in the country. You just need to, in fact, everything is done virtually. You need to just put your papers, your biometric and everything, and your NI, and they will tell you to go and visit the .gov.uk for job share. They will give you a code. Once they give you that code, you submit it to them. They will check and verify that you are of legal standing in the country. And within days, within a week, they verified you, and you can start working as a waiter. There are so many waitress jobs that they earn £12, £13 an hour. So why won't you do it? Warehouse operatives, Amazon, there are a lot of them. Yeah, so it's a very demanding job. And for a lot of us that are jebotas coming from Nigeria, you go and buy your ibuprofen. Just get it done. You have at the end of the day, you have your plans and your goals. So that goal should be what you're looking at, you know. And if you are working in a warehouse, you don't have to do 5 days. That's intense. Do 2 days, rest, and so that's what I'll say.
Yeah. I can also add to that from what you said previously that experience supersedes certificates. I remember when I was coming from Nigeria, I was like, okay, now, born here, so I will get it rosy. I got in and I was like, oh, it was a different ball game. So bringing your certificate doesn't work. They need experience, even if it's volunteering. And I had to do that. I did volunteering, and of course, volunteering, you're not paid. I did with Fair Trade and some other ones so that you could just get someone to give you a reference in the country. So for
Yep.
people who are just joining in and you think, oh, there's nowhere to get a reference, you've got all of these certificates. Just start something, volunteering. And yeah, I did healthcare assistant too. So there was nothing I did. Well, I would say apart from some, but my lowest, I did a healthcare assistant, and I remember then it paid the bills. So there's so many things, one will have to do just to make ends meet when you're in a new environment. Get off your high horse. And I really appreciate those who got back to say, oh, how do I get a job? Well done for doing that. And if you've got any other questions, Taiwo is the expert in this. You can always
I'm not the
contact
expert, though. I'm just sharing. I'm not
this
an expert. I was just sharing my own life
experience.
experience so that
Yeah,
you can relate, and so that people will know that when you see the glory, you see WhatsApp status,
there's a
you see
story behind the glory.
Instagram. There's a story behind it. You know when the dog swims, it's doing a lot of work underground. You're only seeing the beauty of the dog above water. So I'm
Mm.
just trying to share my own experience to encourage people.
Okay, disclaimer then. So she's not an expert, but she's got wealth of experience people can learn from. So if you've got any questions, please contact her directly. The ones she couldn't say or online, the ones she'll be able to tell you offline, please meet her. Welcome, Buki. You're welcome to the show, even though we're
Thank
about sharing the
you.
grace.
Sorry about that. Just coming in from church. Like I
Oh,
told you, the time difference just makes this difficult
yeah.
for me. This is a topic that I would have loved to be a part of since I relocated myself, both inter-country and intra-country. But hey, I have a lot of stories to tell, but I guess time is out.
No,
So
actually, you can. You came right at the nick of time. We're about
maybe
to.
you can just ask me one of the deep questions, and then I can try to answer.
Okay. Oh, someone says expert uh, in arbitration. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for all your contributions. The question that came up, which Tawa has answered, you may have a different dimension to it in the US because you're in the US. Tawa is in the UK. So, what's your answer to this? It says, can a student, I don't know what pertains in the US, but let me say it. Can a student who is restricted to working 20 hours a week be able to pay tuition balance and also take care of herself?
Oh, in the US, that would be very difficult, to be honest. But it's actually it's a difficult one because as a student on a student visa in the US, you're actually not allowed to work.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to work. So anything you're doing on the side, it's illegal and can work against you in the future. Now, I say this when you're because you find some people they do these things behind illegally, quote and unquote, and they tell these stories as though it was easy. They get to pay for it. They never come back and tell you how they paid for it. I came in on an F1 visa from Nigeria. I was already in the middle management, senior level in the banking, in the investment management industry in Nigeria before I came into the US for my MBA. And I had to walk through a process of being an international student. You had to rebase. I could only work, I couldn't work until I graduated. I could do an internship during the internship window. That's it. Then after graduation, we have something called OPT. For my program, it was a 1 year OPT where you expected to get a job within the first 3 months. And then you can keep that OPT status, and then you now find a company that can file the H-1B visa for you. Now, this is a long story, but H-1B visa is not every company that likes to file for it. So, but that's the only track that you can then get and start working. This was in 2010, so 13 years ago, that I graduated from my MBA program. Things may have changed. I don't know. I know that there's another track that my sister-in-law is currently taking that gives them a 3-year OPD, but I don't think it's common to all F1 visa. So I know I've said a lot, but there's a whole process. And it took me how many years to get my green card? 2016. So it took me 6 years to get my green card. And then it took me I got my citizenship in 2021. So I think that's all of 11 years, help my math. No, 12 years, because I relocated in 2009, January 2nd, 2009. So it's a process, and it used to be longer than that. Thank God for Obama, who made the whatever. So there's a path, and there's some other path that you can get to a status where you can work and earn money that would feed your family. But I would say that it's a daunting, there's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of sacrifice to get there. I know a lot of people paint some pictures that, oh, it's easy, arrange wedding and all of that. There are all sorts of repercussions to all this kind of arrangement. I hope I've answered your question. I have a lot to say on that, but I hope I kind of like sort of answered your question. I can't hear you, Bomi.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, so I said, so it's kind of different between UK and US. In the UK, you can still work 20 hours, but in the US, is a no-no. Okay.
Whilst
So,
you're in school,
while you're in
because for
school,
every time you're working, your OPT that you're going to use to stay back after your graduation date is counting down. So it's counting down. So you have less time to find that company that can file H-1B for you. Otherwise, you're going to go out of status or you have to go back home. So it's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's different. It's different. UK is different.
Yes, it's different. So, finally,
I'd like to leave that caveat. It may have changed now because
change. Yeah,
I remember that when I graduated, a spouse of an H1 visa, I mean F1 H-1B visa holder, that is the working visa, your spouse cannot work with the H-4 visa. But I remember that changed about 6 years ago, whereby the spouse can also now change, and can also now work, So I don't know if they've even changed that for the F1, F4 visa as well, F2 visa as well. So it may have changed. In that way, your husband can be working while you're schooling.
Okay.
If that has happened, I know that some people were pushing for that at some point.
Okay. So in 1 minute, could you tell us what your culture shock moments were?
Oh my God. So I came into the United States January 2nd, 2009. I went straight upstate New York, Rochester, very close to Niagara Falls on the side of America here. And if you know, that side is very cold. We have a lot of snow. So I walked in with my sneakers. I had my jacket. I used to travel because before then I used to go to UK and a lot, and in America briefly. But so I had this somewhat warm jacket for UK, but apparently not warm enough for Rochester, New York, in my sneakers. And I got out of the airport, and my first dip into the snow reached my knee, and immediately I knew that I was in trouble. So that's, the weather was the first culture shock. The second one was a lot of changes. And now Americans, if you read the history of America, because of what they suffered in the hands of the British, they tried to make their things different. So that's why if you say you're going to a store here and you say, I'm looking for biscuits, biscuit is like dry bread here. It's cookies. If you say you want sweets, I don't even know how to
Candy.
That's candy. Candy. So they try to change their words. So then we don't say tea as we say it, like tomorrow. It's tomorrow. The T is very silent. It's like toilet paper, So the first thing that comes is like when you come in and then they hear all that accent. They do have accents too, but they want to like intimidate you with, because immediately they know that this is not Sheshe Day. And some of them actually are just mean about it. They know, and others are helpful about it. So it depends on who you walk to. So I remember in business school, then all international students, they spent a lot of time to train us on some of those whatever, to say, hey. And then I understood better, because back then, when in Nigeria, when people go and come after each other, they start to say, oh, and they're like, oh, water. I'm like, so now I understood better. I remember going back home for the first time after 9 months, and I had to make a conscious effort to say water and not water.
Water.
So all of that, and a lot of things are different. But one thing I would like to say that I always tell people that come here is, networking long abroad, all not the same thing.
Yes, sir. Build a support system around yourself. And that's sometimes right. I wonder how those who go from Nigeria to the US, all these different spellings, do they not mark you wrong when they're marking you, all this favor, honor, this color?
So to be honest, in my case, a lot of those things I think I'd somehow known, because I always wanted to school in the US. So that, because I mentally prepared and psychologically prepared my mind, all of those honor color thing, somehow I think the ones that the way they do exams and tests here is so different. I can remember the first time in my first test, and the lecturer said it was going to be an open book. I told my roommates, I said, isn't that cheating? My roommate looked at me and said, okay, born again children of God. Okay, don't do open book. Maybe you are the only Christian, right? You will fail. Or they say we should do cheat sheets, both sided. We call that one dodo in Nigeria now. I want to do the word exam up. And then the teacher is actually giving us authority. But when I found that when they give you all those, specials, if the exam is going to be tough, you better know your onions. But I think they teach you to imbibe and know what you're doing versus Agberu. So that's where the difference is. It's more hands-on. It's the lecturer's joy when their students score high and make merit grades, versus in Nigeria, they want you to sweat to get it. So, that's what I want to say about that. It's different, and easier and fun and more engaging.
Yeah. Great, great, great. I think we've come to the end. If there's no other question, thank you very much, those who stood by us while we were online for 1 hour 20 minutes now. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you for listening. Just remember to share, to like, to subscribe, and to put in your comments. Let's know what your cultural shock. Either you were living in Ijebu and you moved to Mushin, or your own cultural shock. You know, we all experience in different ways. I don't think there's anyone who has an experience who was born in a particular place, grew up there, had their children there, and well, maybe I don't know. Even moving states is another relocation, is another way of saying we relocated and somehow. So thank you very much. If there are no questions, really appreciate you, Taiwo, Buki, Yemisi, Bola, Dayola, Abudu, Esther Ogunpewu was here as well, and others. And thank you to those who wrote comments. Sister Mobola, Aguda, Tony Oluwaduitan, Tinibit.
Was Sister Mobala Aguda in Akure?
Yeah, she was. She was the electoral committee. She was one of the electoral committees.
Oh, okay. What set was she?
Okay, let me put the face. Oh yeah, please answer. I've forgotten. But she was an older. I think one of the 80s. I'm not sure.
I'm sure she was. Maybe she was one of the seniors within me.
Okay, she was in Yellow House. She said she was in Yellow House.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Yellow.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you next time. If you've got suggestions for the next talk, what you think we should say, I mean, we should have for next talk next month, please share with us. Write in the comment down below.
And I'd like to say, Bumi, so thank you, despite everything you're going through at this time, to still be able to make this happen. Of course, you know that the class of 92, we have commiserated with you, we're praying for you. God will continue to give you and the family strength. We're sorry about that loss. And thank you so much for hosting this always.
Thank you. Maybe I should say one story. In cuts, tribute as a tribute to my dad, he would always say, the first ever snow. I was in the buggy and he was running to catch the bus on the snow. He slipped and fell. So that would always say, come on. He would always quote that anytime I did anything wrong. Because I was in a buggy, I was in a pram, and he was running after the bus to catch the bus, and he fell on the snow. Experience we will never forget. So yes, Sister Mobola says she was in 85 sets.
Wow, just before we
entered into Akure. So our senior friend. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for always being here. It's always a delight having this moment with you, having the brain exercise with you. Thank you very much. I say bye-bye, everyone. Have a lovely night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.